Ready? Play.
Hello everyone, let's go straight into questions. Anybody? Matt?
Sure. How did that feel today, and just curious also, in addition to that, like, you play Francis a lot, how do you prepare for playing him, and what kind of challenges does he present that makes him different?
He presents a serious challenge because he's one of those opponents that he plays looser than any other player on the tour, and I feel like sometimes that helps him play well. He kind of makes the pressure disappear of his shoulders, which I believe lets him play better in certain circumstances and periods of time. So that makes him dangerous because he has the tendency, to mix up play, to come to the net. If he's on a good day with a serve, he can be a tricky player to play against. I mean, you can definitely see that with some of the matches that he has had against the top three in the past. He has stretched all of them to the very sort of limits of within their game, and some of them he lost, some of them he won. I'm happy with today's victory because I had a good start. I maintained that throughout the match. Of course, he was going to fight back at some point and present a more difficult challenge for me in the second set. And I fought back. I held serve, and I stayed really committed to what I was doing, and definitely served big on those moments to kind of keep the lead, and had great signs of concentration and fighting spirit from the very first point till the end. And of course, I think the thing that I did very well today that stood out was getting those fresh shots, which was the serve and the return of serve. On both ends, I was able to apply pressure and have a good, strong start.
Hi. A little while ago, you wrote your great letter to tennis, where you said, "Oh, it's my special playground, it has no rules." My question sort of relates to that, in that you've now traveled for years to all the great sites in our sport. Many people feel this is a very special one. If I could put you on the spot, what letter would you write to Indian Wells?
Dear Indian Wells, just recreating it. You've been mean to me in the past, but I still have lots of love for you, and I'm here to make up and create good memories together. So please give me your love, give me your full support, and I'm sure I'm going to be your special one.
Okay.
Hi, Steph. You got to play mixed doubles with Paula earlier in the week. I'm curious what that experience was like and what it has been like to support her through what has been a pretty frustrating time for her on court with injuries.
It does create a difficult time for not just Paula but me as well, having to be there and keep pushing her to kind of get well and jump back on the court. She's kind of been in and out, and the most frustrating part about all of this is that she did play a few matches and then she started feeling she didn't feel that well again, so it has been a tricky time for both of us. On my end, it's more of a I'm trying to find the right words and the right things to say. Obviously, when it does start in the beginning, you have a lot of faith in it, and you're like, okay, you just need to stay committed in the process of healing and getting better. But after a while, there aren't many things you can say because you're confused yourself of what's happening with the body. So I'm just there as much as I can to keep, making her feel good that at least we're together and we're trying to find a solution together. However, I do feel like time will show, and soon I'm pretty sure she will be fully healed and ready to go full again.
Anyone else?
When you play, and I don't know necessarily necessarily a function of, you know, your ranking dropping a little bit, but it's a third round match. France is a really tough opponent in the third round. It's almost like something like that you would expect. Quarterfinal, fourth round, is that something you have to get used to a little bit more, or is that in your head at all? That it just in this moment, tougher matches might come earlier for you?
Of course, it's part of the whole experience, being outside the top 10, and that is what you subscribe to, not being within those high-ranked guys. That's what comes with it, and of course I'm prepared for it, for any circumstance, and any new opening or anything different that might occur in my career. I just try and face it as good as I can, and deal with it daily.
Any advantage to it, getting these matches against good guys, especially if you get a win?
Look, I do
give you confidence for later.
We have seen players that were in the top 10 and dropped out a little bit, some of them much further. It can be tricky for those that are high ranked, because some of the players do have that big tennis that they have, of course, once produced, which kept them in the top 5, and they had big results, and maybe something didn't work out at the time and kind of pushed them back in the rankings. So these could be tricky matches, because I've had those actually in the past against players that do not deserve to be outside the top 20 or 30 and are way better than that in terms of tennis and experience. And these can be tricky matches, and I feel like being some sort of contender for that title, let's say, it does perhaps add a bit more pressure to the other guys, because, you know, I've proved myself over the last few years that I can be there. It's just that it hasn't worked out recently, and I'm not at the best sort of tennis shape that I've been in terms of the last months. Yeah.
Grigor Dimitrov was talking about the one-handed backhand yesterday, its beauty and just how complex it is. It's just many different aspects to it. Could you talk about the one-handed backhand? Do you like it? Do you enjoy its complexity, its beauty, its flexibility?
It's a complex shot to master and to perfect, and it takes a lot of time to get to a point where you develop an amazing single-handed backhand, one that is a weapon too. Way more complex than double-handed backhand. I also think that the reason people have the tendency to choose the double-handed backhand is obviously the ease of it, of how less complex it is to learn, and how you can always support your left hand to close out certain shots or save certain shots that perhaps a single-handed backhand would slice instead. So these are some of the, let's say, advantages of it. Otherwise, I do feel like it's the most beautiful shot in tennis. I do believe that it's the most difficult thing to learn in tennis. But of course, it has its rewards as of sort of creating opportunities, opening up the court. I think it's a massive weapon for courts that have sort of a high response to the ball, especially clay courts as well. So I do find it a beautiful shot that also, if perfected in the right way, it can be a massive lethal weapon for those that feel confident hitting that shot.
If you could start all over, would you choose the one-handed or?
Yes, I would start it. I feel like I am part of the players that carry on the legacy of the single-handed backhand. If it was not for me, if it was not for Lorenzo, if it was not for Richard, this shot would barely be seen on the tour. So yes, it's an old school shot, something that people used to play back in the day, but it has its modernity these days. It has evolved into a modern shot that looks way different than it was hundreds of years ago. And I do believe that more kids in the future would definitely decide to pursue a single-handed backhand. And we might see that at big levels again, perhaps even a lot of players playing it inside the top 10 soon. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.